mean, this certainly looks like a mundane picture, like who really cares? But it's a slice of life. I mean, it's something from 1937, and it shows how kids dressed and the simple little games that they played and were quite contented with.
And we hope maybe someone could identify the other fellow in the picture.
That's right. That's right.
At this point.
Sure.
Knickers were the style of
Knickers and knee socks. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was before my time. I never remember knickers.
Yeah. Well, you didn't miss much.
I guess not.
This is from the Evelyn Fowler collection.
Yes, that would have been their home on Somerset Avenue.
Okay. Next, from the Doris Nutter collection, we have a pageant going on at the Second Congregational Church. I believe it was the 225th anniversary.
That was in October 1938, from what we're told, and there were quite a few pictures that came from this event, and a lot of them show people. This happens to show two ladies. Again, many of these people were in costume for the event, and these two are Frida Wallace on the left and Carrie A. Nutter on the right, coming out of the front door of the old church, before it was turned around, we might add. This is as it faced down Cabot Street. And I guess it was quite a time because, as I say, a lot of pictures have surfaced from this particular event.
Indeed it was. In fact, the next picture, I think, ties in with the one that we've just seen.
I believe it does.
We're looking at the 225th anniversary pageant again, October. No?
Yeah,
Yes.
October 1938.
38, yep. Right. Okay.
And again, they're right on the front steps of the church, and these ladies facing the camera are Mrs. Amy Allen, Miss Alice Hatch, and unfortunately the other lady we don't know, but again, perhaps somebody would like to call us if they know who it is.
Absolutely.
And tell us, because we'd love to fill in these blanks that we have here.
Right.
And this is from the Doris Nutter collection also.
Okay. Fine pictures. Next, we have a field between, a scene showing the field between Dodge and Cabot Streets, about 1940.
Yeah, I would think so.
Make our way towards the 50s. And, well, we have Lawrence Atherton Sr., I guess, planting potatoes, Richard?
It looks like it, yeah. We don't know if he's planting them or digging them. I think he's probably planting them here, and those look like seed potatoes. And this is the area down behind the fire station there in North Beverly, and you're looking basically toward Conant Street, which would be way in the background, beyond the greenhouses. And again, those greenhouses which you see there are the Glines greenhouses, and those, of course, stood behind where the Chinaland restaurant is today, and Johnny Appleseed's complex. And Route 128 goes smack dab right through the middle of this field behind where Mr. Atherton is sitting in this picture, and did so not too long after this picture was taken, actually.
Okay.
Certainly shows the rural aspects of North Beverly, as do quite a few of these.
Absolutely.
Something we can't believe today.
The wide open spaces up there that people don't really know of.
That's right.
If they're not over a certain age of, let's say, about 50 or...
Yeah, virtually every farm in North Beverly today is house lots, except perhaps Moraine Farm up on Wenham Lake. But everything else has gone to houses.
Yep. Okay, from a Bob Atherton collection, we go to the Gary Thomas contributions, and here we have Willard Riva and Virginia Clark. Rich.
Yeah, there again, up in a big, expansive field, and they're spraying cabbages here in the picture, probably with insecticide. And this is the area which is today Whirling Drive, which is up off of Dodges Row. And so, you know, to get a picture like this today would be impossible. That's all built up in houses, as we were just discussing. This whole area up off Dodges Row was all farms. It's amazing when you think of how much of that has been lost.
And what has become of the Riva family?
I really don't know. This is R-I-V-A, not R-E-E-V-E-R. There were Reavers further down on Dodge Street, but this is R-I-V-A, and we're assuming it's Riva and not Riva, but it could be. But I don't really know. I never knew anybody by that name, although there were quite a few up there, according to Charlie Barter in his interview that I did.
Well, if anyone knows, they could get in touch.
Please tell us. We'd love to know.
Okay. And another picture, same family. 216 Dodge Street, about 1940.
It looks to me in this picture, which was taken in the snow, that Willard Riva here is using a horse and some sort of either a plow or a roller to kind of clean out his driveway. It doesn't seem to be a sleigh. It's too low to the ground for that, so we're assuming it's something he used to sort of flatten the snow on his drive.
Yeah. A real old-fashioned method of doing it.
Sure.
At this point in 1940.
In 1940, absolutely.
More sophisticated ways to plow a driveway.
You would think so. But again, you know, horses were something you used on the farm. I mean, Lester Gasper used horses right to the end. He never even had a driver's license that I know of. And he delivered milk with horses well into the 1950s.
Yeah.
Did all his haying, all his planting were done with horses. You know, horse-drawn hay mower. Oh, yeah.
Those people that hang on to the old traditions, you have to admire them, don't you?
Sure. You know, the one concession that Lester Gasper made, though, he had rubber inflated automobile wheels on his milk wagon.
He did.
So he had the ride. He may not have had the engine, but he had the ride.
Okay. Let's see. Second church lawn fair?
Oh, yeah. This particular picture holds a lot of personal memories. It's sort of a double picture here, which is taken right from the Beverly Times newsprint. That's why it's not too sharp. But this was in the early 50s. We're not sure exactly what year. Probably before 1954, I would think, judging by the ages of the kids here. And this was like all church fairs that they have in the summertime. Simple little affairs with lots of things to eat and games for the kids and things that you pretty much still have even today. Mm-hmm. And the picture, the main picture, which shows all the kids standing there in their nautical costumes, which was the theme of that event. Most of those people are identified, and we know them left to right as Larry Walkup, Charles Moore, Jackie Wilkins, Ricky Mosier, Tommy Watts, Ardith Maney, myself, Billy Bagley, and Shung Han. And Shung Han was a Chinese boy who lived with the Reverend Rashi's family at that time, while his family was becoming established in this country.
Yeah. I say there's a fierce-looking pirate in there of some degree.
That's Shung. Shung is the one in the wild pirate suit with the earrings, and
the fellow standing next to him.
I'm right in there in the beard behind him. And the beard was applied with spirit gum, and it was a hot day. I remember that.
Yeah.
And the spirit gum smelled to holy heaven. And when it came time to take the beard off, that was a whole other project, getting that to release. Yeah. And yeah, I remember that very well. Yeah. Wore my father's old fire department hat and was supposed to look like a sea captain.
Yeah. Obviously, this picture being taken by the Times staffers appeared in the newspaper undoubtedly.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the
that's right.
That time.
That's right.
49.
Yeah, and the little girl in the sub picture there to the right is Betty Ann Allen, and that's her mother, Mrs. Donald Allen, with her, and they were pulling little prizes out of a fish pond with those little sticks.
Yeah. At the fair, at the church fair. June 25th, 1949.
49.
That would be, how many years? 42 years ago.
42 years ago. I would have been, what, 8 years old at that time.
Just a puppy.
That's right.
Okay, 24. We're getting down near the end here. We have item 24, the second church again. Another church program dated February of 1953.
That's right.
Ernest Tucker took this picture.
That's right, and that, of course, is one of the newspaper pictures. And these people are identified left to right as Carrie Botter Sweat, Lester Barron, Martha Roberts, Mrs. Henry Conant, Betty Kimball, Barbara Brown, Minnie Quirk, who we saw her house earlier, Betty Currier, and the minister's wife, Mary Margaret Rashi.
Say a word about Reverend Rashi.
He was a very popular minister at Second Church, and I remember him well because, again, I used to play with that little Chinese fellow that they were taking care of. And so I was in their house many times growing up, and they were just nice people. Yeah. Mrs. Rashi lived in Topsfield until fairly recently, and now I understand she's moved to the Midwest. And Dr. Rashi passed away many years ago and is buried up here at North Beverly in the cemetery.
Now, how long was his tenure at the church?
Oh, gee.
Number of years?
It's hard to say. I don't really remember. It seemed like he was there a long time, but that's because when you're growing up,
Sure.
you know, a few years is a long time. But I would say he was there probably 15 years, perhaps.
I well
Something
remember
like
the
that.
name, reading the name in the paper and his name. Nice man.
Indeed.
Okay, we go down to the ceremonial cornerstone, laying of the cornerstone. We have a little time capsule here, I believe, that we are going to show, February 8th, 1953, same date.
Right. When they were turning the church around and expanding it and putting that big addition between the parish hall and the original church building, they apparently had a time capsule that they buried in the cornerstone. And this picture shows on the left Fred Wallace, who was a longtime church member up there. And behind him in the center is Reverend Rashi. And carrying the capsule itself is Kenton Bagley. And this was an Ernest Tucker picture again for the Beverly Times. And it shows this being done on a regular, apparently Sunday church service.
Yeah. Fred Wallace, now you told me that he owned the house in which Bob Lovett now resides?
That's at 27 Conant Street, and he was there for years, I understand.
Okay. And it's nice to know that Ernest Tucker is still with us. And
Oh, yeah.
We do enjoy his column in the Beverly Times.
We do, and we certainly enjoy a lot of these old pictures that he was able to save from the Times.
Indeed. Right. Well, we're coming along now to our last photograph of the show here, and this time we're showing a bunch of fellows who are getting ready to or have already constructed a bonfire.
Right, I can see a little bit of it in the background, so perhaps it's about halfway, and many people were involved in this every year, and it was sort of a North Beverly Community Association that did this, that sponsored these events. But in any event, some of the kids here in this picture that were helping that year, left to right on the truck, Richard Cook, Bill Walsh, Alan Ayers, and Bruce Atherton up on the cab roof. And we might add this is an old Studebaker truck. There's a name out of the past you don't hear anymore.
Sure is.
And
you couldn't tell whether they were coming at you or
the automobiles. That's right. That was a really unique design after the war. They were as long on the back as they were in the front, which was unheard of in those days.
Yeah.
And that was indeed the joke. You didn't know which way they were coming. But the trucks were old, stodgy, and reliable, and basically soldiered on for many years after the demise of the company that built them, and there's still a few around even today. So that's in the area at the North Beverly Plaza where those bonfires were for many years.
Yeah.
That's the 1955 version of it, which would have been the next to last one.
Yeah. So we have traversed the years 1883 through 1955 here, showing, as we said earlier, some of the faces that appeared and lived in the North Beverly area.
Right.
Most of whom are gone today, but
the older ones certainly are.
Having left just a little bit of themselves, particularly when we can look at these fine photographs.
That's right.
That are preserved today.
That's right.
So it really is important, if you have some pictures out there that you don't know what to do with, the Society would love to have them.
Yeah, without doubt, because every week down there, one or two pictures will come straggling in from some part of the city, and most people will come in and they'll say, well, I don't think this is really important, but we thought you'd like to have it. And sometimes they're right, they're not important, but we always like to have it because each little piece, it's like a big jigsaw puzzle. Yeah. And each little piece you get helps to fill in the big picture.
Yeah.
So people shouldn't underestimate what they have, because monetarily it may not be valuable, but historically it may be of great value.
And if we do our job as we should, we will caretake these pictures and artifacts for the coming generations to enjoy.
That's right.
And ponder over us.
Sure, well, we're going to be in pictures someday that someone else will be looking at, so yeah, you're right.
Isn't that a thought to think about, huh?
Absolutely.
Rich, I wanted to ask you in closing, what's happening at the Society? Any plans down there?
Well, we have plans right now for the summer to get our World War II exhibit launched. We're planning a major exhibition in December, coinciding with Pearl Harbor Day on December 7th, the 50th anniversary of the United States participation in World War II. And in fact, this very week, which is now the first week of June, a letter is going out to the Historical Society members, and we're asking them if they were veterans, or even if they were just living in Beverly at the time of the war, you know, on the home front, if they have any memories or photographs or artifacts from the war that they could contribute to this exhibit. We would certainly like to hear from them and use some of this to make this exhibit a really great show and something that the community can really be proud of.
Particularly the oral histories of these gentlemen and women who were in the war.
That's right.
Stories they have to tell would be just wonderful to preserve on tape and to have forever.
Every night in the paper, you look at the obituary in the Beverly Times or the Salem News, and you, without fail, will see 4 or 5 World War II veterans.
Yep.
This is every day that many are slipping away. That's how fast they're being taken.
Yeah.
And with each one that goes is that many stories, that many experiences gone forever.
Yeah. We were talking on earlier times, past programs, about the Civil War veterans being alive as late as the 1930s, early 1930s, and then they began to dwindle to just a few, and then they were gone.
I remember in the 1950s, I think 1959, the last one went, because I know they followed them in Life magazine, and so even I remember the last 8 or 10 or so that were still living in the country at the time.
Yeah. So if you're a veteran, World War II, we'd love to hear from you.